Hello everyone, welcome to today's Fitness Roundtable discussion. I'm here with Dr. Pat and AJ Diggs. Today we're going to talk about programming and how to put together a program for an athlete based on his injuries. So the athlete we had this year was Bradley Roby, first round pick by the Denver Broncos, and he came to us with a plethora of injuries. Dr. Pat, what did you think about when you first saw Bradley from a programming and get him to just do things standpoint?
Right, he had a knee injury he was coming off of, so he couldn't really do too much squatting or running. He could do upper body lifting with you guys, but we're doing a lot of rehab stuff just to get him to the point where he can squat and run. We're doing a lot of therapy with him, and then when we handed him over to you guys, I know you guys did a lot of pull exercises where he wasn't using all of his body weight, and eventually he had a great combine, and your guys' programming was amazing because he's having a great year so far. Did you guys tweak your workouts to kind of ease him back in, or did you guys kind of just throw him right back in with the rest of the guys?
Absolutely not. The biggest thing was that we had to make sure that knee was fresh and it was good, because we knew we can still get him mentally sharp and work on his upper body mechanics and maybe do some core strengthening, that by the time he got back to full strength, he can kind of hop just right in. Because the biggest thing about athletes when they get injured is they just sit around and they don't do anything. And they just work on that one particular injury. But there's everything all around it. So if a guy has a knee, work on his other leg, work on his ankles, work on his hip flexibility, work on his core, work on his upper body, and work on his mental aspect of the game.
I've actually got a question for both you guys. Let's say you get a new basketball player who's 100% healthy and he comes to you and you know who he is. Do you ask him what he wants to work on? And then do you know his game a little where you're like, I think we should also work more on your ball handling because it wasn't. Do you kind of tell him too? Or?
For me, the first thing I always do anytime I get an athlete, I watch film. I want to see their movements. I want to see things that they like to do on the court. Obviously, they're a professional for a reason. Another person that I would obviously talk to would be their coaches and see, hey, where are we taking this guy? Is he a rookie? What does he need to continue to have success on the floor? Or is, again, if he's a new guy that's just trying to break into the NBA and trying to figure out a role. From there, then, obviously, there are some drills that I have for each individual guys, from a post to a guard to a wing, that we will work on individually. But the first thing you'd always want to do is take what they do naturally and expound on that. And then once you've expounded on that, take some of their weaknesses and help them get better as well. What do you think, Travell?
That's funny, because from a programming standpoint, I always think about where they're at from a physical standpoint, from a rehab and or a prehab standpoint, from a strength and movement standpoint, and then from a performance on the playing surface. And so that's what I take into consideration. I always talk to the athlete, and the athlete's always usually really up here with their thoughts of where they're at, or really down here. Then I always talk to their coach, same exact way. So from there, I get aspects of their game that the athlete thinks they need to do. I get aspects of the game that the coach wants them to do. Right. And I put that together in their program, again, from a rehab and prehab standpoint, from a performance standpoint, and from a skill standpoint. That's how I build out their programs.
What do you do when you have a conflict? You have a guy, the coach wants one thing, the player wants another thing. How do you deal with those kind of things moving forward, from a programming standpoint?
You decide what's best for the athlete. So if the athlete's getting paid by a team, or he's looking to get a bigger contract or more playing time or play a bigger role, you have to explain to him, listen, this is what your coach wants you to do. Okay. If you don't want to do it, that's fine. But if you want to play or get your goals of what you want, this is what you need to do. And that's how I've always put it. Because there's always guys who don't think they need something, or right, who know what they need to do, but they're stuck in a rut or stuck in their situation. So from a programming standpoint, you have to put the things in there they need.
How do you know, with Bradley, for instance, that he was on the right path, that he was working through injury, that he was going to perform well or get back to 100%?
I think it's leaning on the doctors and the physical therapists, and then based off of how the kid feels. So if he feels good and the doctor's pushing him saying he's ready to go, that's how you go. It's kind of a situation where you have to lean on every single person involved and look at how the players are responding. Sometimes from a mental aspect, guys don't think they can push themselves. But if you have a great physical therapist and the kid is really engaged and he's really liking what he's seeing, that's how you know when they're really ready. Well, guys, that's our segment for this week. I want to thank everybody for being here again today. And for more information, log on to thepostgame.com.